Hey, Rick Champlin here again. I wanted to talk to you about a product that we use for flooring or have used that I have made a decision that we are not going to be using anymore, and that is a glue down LVP or a luxury vinyl plank. And I'm going to show you why we're not going to use that product anymore. And the main reason is that it follows the floor contours exactly. So anytime there's any deformation in the floor after the floor has gone down, that will show in the floor. And we just had an instance in a home that we did. We just had a flooring allowance for the homeowners. They chose a glue down LVP, and what happened is they started to have nail pops in the subfloor. And we did a bunch of research on what happened with the install and different things like that. And our installer did a great job doing prep work, sanding the floor, laying down, a self-leveling surface, sanding the floor again, and then putting the glue down. But over time, homes move, especially in the first year of life, and there must have been some extra moisture in the subfloor, there was some shrinkage, and some of the nails in the subfloor started to come up a little bit, and there was nothing done wrong on the install. It was a perfect install. Subfloor was put down perfect, but just over time, the floor moves. It's made of wood. It shrinks. It grows, and those nail pops start to show up through that glue down LVP. And ultimately, it can be a good material. It's a more affordable material, that glue down, than doing a float type of material, but again, it's so thin that it just shows every little crack, every little nail, ridge, whatever it is, it's going to show that. So typically most of the homes we do in our senior developments are slab on grade, and they have cracks in the concrete floor. And without an additional amount of prep work to make sure those cracks are filled and level, ultimately you're going to see those cracks in that glue down LVP. And even if you do a lot of prep work and get everything perfect, it is still has potential to have problems, because there's two types of concrete, and there's concrete that's cracked and concrete that will crack. So ultimately, even if you've done all the prep work, you've leveled the floor, done everything to make the perfectly smooth floor for the install of that glue down LVT, the concrete still can crack later. I am going to be switching our standard flooring material over to a floating install, still an LVT. It's a slightly thicker material, has a foam or cork backboard on it. Still a great material, I think, and still relatively affordable as far as floorings go. And I think it's a great product, and ultimately it's going to help with a bottleneck that we have in our area with finishing our homes. So typically we do that glue down LVP, that goes down first, and then our cabinets get set on top of that. And the challenge we have with that is there's really not a lot left to do once those cabinets go in, other than get countertops in place and finish up our plumbing. And with how busy everything's gotten recently, our countertops are taking anywhere from 3 weeks to 5 weeks to come after templates. So we set those cabinets and we have to wait another 3 weeks to 5 weeks to get the countertops in there. And that house sits basically vacant during that whole time with nothing happening because all the trim work's done, the paint's done, everything is done except for the finished plumbing, which can't happen until those countertops are set. So that has created a poor experience with our homeowners because they sit there, the home's almost done, and they sit there and watch it and nothing is happening. And ultimately that creates a poor experience for our homeowners. So with doing the float LVP, we're able to bring the cabinet install further into the process or further forward. So with the float flooring goes in after the cabinet. So you come in, set the cabinets, then the flooring comes in, then you come and do your back base, your trim work around anywhere that there's a hard surface floor. And that creates some time where we're still working on the house, still progressing on the house, but the cabinets are in place. We can get those templated and we're not so rushed on getting those countertops in because it works better in the flow of things that need to be done in the home. So that is another reason that we're switching to the float LVP. And I think ultimately it's going to be a great move. We're going to have a better product being put down for our customers on the floor, and we're also going to be able to have a better workflow of essential activities on the home so that the home doesn't sit vacant waiting for those countertops to show up. We can still have other tasks in the process that are happening while we wait for those countertops.